There are moments in life when everything looks okay on the surface, but deep down, you know something's off. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're just disconnected from your feelings, from others, maybe even from yourself. In this video, we're going to talk about what that emotional numbness really means and how to find your way back to yourself, one step at a time. There's a quiet kind of struggle many people live with but rarely talk about. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't always look like pain. In fact, from the outside, everything might seem fine. But inside, there's a disconnect, a sense of being emotionally numb. You're alive, but something feels missing. You laugh when you're supposed to. You nod, smile, go through the motions. But deep down, there's a dullness, a distance between who you are and what you're feeling. It's like watching your life through a window, close enough to see, but too far to touch. Sometimes it starts after a big loss. Sometimes it builds slowly over time. And sometimes you can't even trace it to a single cause. It just sneaks in, quietly. And one day you realize you've stopped feeling things the way you used to. You don't cry at movies anymore. You don't get excited like you used to. You can't remember the last time you felt truly moved. And the worst part? You're not even sure if you care. You might ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But the truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. This isn't brokenness. It's a survival response. When life feels overwhelming, our brains protect us. They numb us out. They dial down the intensity so we can keep functioning. So we can keep showing up to work, paying bills, making dinner. But over time, that emotional dimmer switch doesn't just shut out pain, it shuts out joy too. This emotional shutdown can feel like safety, but it's also isolation. It's the body saying, let's not feel too much, just in case it hurts again. You start to avoid silence, because that's when the emptiness creeps in. You fill every moment with noise, scrolling, watching, consuming, just to avoid sitting with yourself. You feel tired even after sleeping, restless even when nothing's wrong, alive but not quite living. And when you try to explain it, you feel silly, because how do you describe a numbness that has no obvious reason? How do you justify sadness when everything looks fine? So you keep it to yourself. And that silence only deepens the disconnection. But here's the thing, this feeling isn't permanent. It's not who you are. It's a sign, a signal. Your emotions haven't disappeared. They've just gone quiet, waiting for it to feel safe again. So how do you emotionally reconnect when you've gone numb? When your feelings feel distant, flat, or even unreachable? First, understand this. Emotional reconnection doesn't happen all at once. It's not about flipping a switch or having a sudden awakening. It's a slow, quiet return, like thawing out after being frozen for too long. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, even painful. But that's not a bad sign. That's the feeling of coming back to life. Start small. Emotional reconnection doesn't begin with fixing everything. It begins with noticing. Can you pause for just a few seconds each day to check in with yourself? Not to judge or analyze, but simply to ask, what am I feeling right now? Don't worry if the answer isn't clear. Emotions don't always show up in words. They show up in tight shoulders, a sudden sigh, a lump in the throat, a restlessness you can't explain. This kind of checking in is powerful because it sends a message to your inner self. You matter, I'm listening. And that message, over time, creates trust. When your body and emotions trust that you'll listen, they begin to speak more clearly. Sometimes emotional reconnection starts not in the mind, but in the body. Movement can awaken feelings that words can't touch. Try stretching, dancing, walking slowly with no destination. Not for exercise, not for progress. Just to feel your own presence. Your own breath, your own rhythm. Touch is also powerful. Placing your hand on your chest, feeling your heartbeat, sitting with that for a few moments. It's grounding. It brings you back into yourself, especially if your emotions have felt distant or locked away. Silence helps too. In a noisy world, we often drown ourselves in distractions. Music, podcasts, shows, social media, all to avoid the quiet. But emotions live in that quiet, that stillness. When you sit in silence, uncomfortable feelings may rise. That's okay. Let them. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just letting the truth have space to breathe. Another way to reconnect is through expression. Writing your thoughts, even if they seem messy or pointless. Talking out loud when no one's around. Drawing. Singing. Screaming into a pillow if you need to. Emotion needs motion. It needs space. And when you give it a way out, it stops piling up inside. Reconnect with your past, but gently. Ask yourself, when did I start disconnecting? Was there a moment? A season? A relationship that taught me it wasn't safe to feel? You don't need to relive the pain, but understanding the source can help you reclaim your emotions. You get to rewrite the rules. You get to say, "It's safe to feel now." Another step is learning the difference between real feelings and the ones you think you're supposed to have. Many of us were taught which emotions were acceptable and which ones were bad. Maybe you learned to hide anger, or to never cry, or to smile even when hurting. Over time, we confuse performance with authenticity. Emotional reconnection means giving yourself permission to feel all of it, even the messy, inconvenient parts. You might cry for reasons you don't understand. You might feel anger that seems disproportionate. That's okay. These are layers being released. Stored emotions. Forgotten truths. Let them move through. You don't have to make sense of them all. Another way to reconnect is to stop numbing. Notice your patterns. Do you immediately scroll when you feel bored? Do you binge shows or food when something feels off? These habits aren't evil, but they often act as buffers between us and our real feelings. Try delaying them, just for a few minutes. Sit in the discomfort and ask, what's really going on underneath this urge? Human connection also plays a key role. Talk to someone who sees you, someone who listens without rushing to fix you, someone who can just be with you. Emotional safety in relationships is a shortcut to healing. It reminds you that you're not too much, not too sensitive, not alone. If you don't have someone like that, writing letters to yourself can help. Imagine writing to the child version of you. What would you say? How would you comfort them? That part of you still exists, still waits to be seen. Reconnecting emotionally doesn't always feel good at first, but it is good. It's a return to wholeness, a return to honesty, a return to aliveness. And even if the road is slow, each step matters. Because the truth is, your emotions never left you. They've just been waiting, quietly, for you to come home. There's a pressure no one really talks about. A quiet, unspoken rule we all seem to follow. Look fine. Act fine. Be fine even when you're not. We smile when we're breaking inside. We say, "I'm good" on autopilot. We scroll through highlight reels, wondering why we feel so out of sync with everyone else's supposed happiness. But this pressure to seem okay all the time comes at a cost. It teaches us to wear masks so well that we forget what our real face even looks like. Maybe it started in childhood, when adults praised us for being easy or well-behaved, which really meant we didn't express too much. Or in school, when emotions were treated like distractions instead of signals. Or maybe it came later, in adult life, where strength got confused with silence, and vulnerability was mistaken for weakness. Over time, we learn the rules. Don't burden others. Don't be dramatic. Don't fall apart, especially not in public. So we bottle it. We push it down. We convince ourselves, I should be grateful. Other people have it worse. Crying won't change anything. But here's the truth. Pretending you're okay doesn't make you strong. It just makes you tired. Emotionally, mentally, physically. There's a heavy toll that comes with performing fine every single day. You start to feel invisible, disconnected, alone in a room full of people. Because when no one knows how you're really doing, even love can feel like it's not meant for you. That's the dark side of hiding. You don't just hide the pain, you end up hiding yourself. And the worst part? No one tells you that you're allowed to stop pretending. So let this be your reminder. You are allowed to not be okay. You are allowed to say, today was hard, without explaining why. You are allowed to feel lost, even if your life looks fine on paper. You are allowed to be real, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Because realness is not a weakness. It's a reclamation. It's you choosing to show up as your full self. It's you dropping the weight of perfection. It's you finally saying, this is me, and I deserve to be seen. And when you do that, something amazing happens. You give others permission to do the same. Your honesty becomes a mirror, a bridge, a soft place to land. And slowly, the pressure starts to loosen. The masks begin to fall. And what's left is not a flawless version of you, but an honest human healing one. And maybe that's what being fine really means. Not pretending, but being fully present with the truth of who you are. Even when it's messy. Even when it's painful. Even when it's still a work in progress. Because that version of you, the real one, is more than fine. It's free. If any part of this video spoke to you, even a sentence, take that as a sign. You're not alone in how you feel. We all carry invisible stories. We all have quiet battles no one sees. And sometimes, just hearing it said out loud is enough to crack something open. So if you're ready to stop pretending and start reconnecting, not just with others, but with yourself, you're in the right place. This channel exists for people who feel deeply, think quietly, and are tired of faking fine. If that's you, I'd love to have you here. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know. What part of this felt the most real to you? Let's keep building a space where honesty isn't awkward, where emotion isn't a weakness, and where being human is enough. Thanks for watching. We'll talk again soon.